Hello chess lovers, Solen here, and in this video I want to share with you Esipenko's game against the reigning world chess champion Magnus Carlsen, which has already arisen a huge noise. This game was played in round 8 at the ongoing 2021 Tata Steel Masters. The Russian chess grandmaster, 18-year-old Andrey Esipenko, had white pieces and he opened up with e4, to which Carlsen answered with his usual Sicilian defense. D4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, a6. Neither variation is on the board. Bishop e2, e6. Black is setting up this Scheveningen setup. And after bishop e7, we see a very aggressive g4 move in the spirit of Keres attack. White is showing his aggressive intentions. In here, as you know, f4, queen d2 or castling kingside are the most popular lines, but in the game we see this aggressive g4 move. b5, g5, knight f d7, and a3. I have to tell you that for the first time this position had been seen in 1975 in a game played between Robert Byrne and Lev Polukaevsky. In that game, f4 followed, but later the player started to employ this a3 line as well. On your screen you can see those few games which were played starting with a3, and actually in this line white is boldly sacrificing the pawn on g5. White is stopping the b pawn and at the same time is making a pawn sacrifice, which Carlsen accepted, and accepting the pawn sacrifice is a somewhat bold decision because this is allowing white to open up the g file and then later can put a very useful pressure. Queen h4. Well, this seems to be a bit strange looking move. Developing the queenside bishop is better. The queen on h4 is actually placed somewhat awkwardly, and the thing is that soon Carlsen will move it back. After rook g1, g6 followed. Here is a very beautiful line which I want to share with you. Now if queen takes h2, then rook takes g7, and if queen h1 check, then white can even play king d2, and then can play knight takes e6, and this is how white can finish up his opponent. There is no way to avoid the upcoming checkmate. That's why in the game we see g6 and Esipenko castled queenside. Queen e7, so this was definitely a loss of precious time, and meanwhile white is making his position stronger. King b1, a nice prophylactic move. At the same time, with this quiet move, white is also setting up a conic trap on which Carlsen stepped. Carlsen played knight c6, but this is a serious mistake. At this point it was better first to play knight c5, block the c file and only then develop the knight. But instead we see knight c6, and the problem with this move is that this taps into a staggering knight takes b5 move. A takes b5, knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, queen c3 with a double attack. Carlsen castled kingside and queen takes c6. White has a clear advantage and black is in trouble. We have two potential weaknesses and one of those pawns is going to drop as well. d5, Carlsen is trying to make things a little bit complex, but there is no way out. d6, this e-pawn, this was the e-pawn, right? Which reached the d6 square, and white is counter-attacking black queen, and the pawn on b5 also dropped. Rook cb8, black is trying to make use of these semi-open files somehow to target white king, but there is no way out. The pawn on a3 dropped, but this doesn't mean anything. There comes queen c7, queen e8, and rook g5. Another very beautiful move. With this rook maneuver, white is switching his rook into the game from the fifth rank, and white is now offering the exchange of rooks, thus trying to simplify the position and repel black's counterplay. Rook for b7, queen c3. Of course, Carlsen rejected the offer of exchange of rooks. He wants to keep as many pieces on the board as possible. Rook b4, queen c7, queen f6. At this point, if queen e8, then bishop c6 can follow. That's why Carlsen played queen f6, and there comes rook a8. Finally white is forcing the exchange of rooks, and yeah, it's over. Black can do nothing right now. Rook b3 is the threat. That's why we see king b2, rook b5. Well, if e5, then bishop c6. This is a simple win. Knight b6, d7. So in the game, rook b5 was played, and queen takes d7, rook c5. Carlsen is hopelessly trying to create problems for his opponent. He's trying his luck, but there is no way out. Black's position is hopelessly lost. King g7, d7, and at this point resignation followed. If queen d4 check, then of course not king b1. This is losing, guys. Of course you won't make a move like this. If here, then queen d2, and it's black who is winning. Yeah, this is crazy. Of course you should never make a move like that. That's why to queen d4 check, white can simply answer with c3, and in this case black can do nothing. A memorable, and why not a historical victory by Esipenko. This was his first time ever that he faced Carlsen in a game with a classical time control, and after the game here is what he said. I think it's one of the best days in my life. I feel very great and I have nothing to say. Actually, he said everything with this game. What I want to do right now is to go through the game once again, this time having the engine turned on. So after king b1, okay, maybe we should start from this move on. Let's go here and start from queen h4. So queen h4 was definitely a dubious move. Instead we have bishop b7, queen e7 suggestions, queen h4, rook g1, g6, and Esipenko castled queenside, and then the queen retreated back. F4, bishop b7, king b1, and now castling can be really very dangerous, you know. In this case h4 can follow. Knight c5 was definitely the move. In that case, already if you play knight c5 and then knight c6, that the knight takes b5 won't work, and already we can see a huge advantage. The combination was absolutely accurate and left black no chance. Almost +3 advantage, yes, is on the board, and there is no way out. Carlsen tried to make things complicated, tried to create a counterplay, but in a game played with a classical time control, you can't do anything, you know. There comes rook g5, which is another very nice move, neutralizing any possible counterplay. Queen c3, bishop f3, there it goes. The bishop is occupying the long diagonal, after which white is forcing the exchange of rooks. There's just no way out, you know. During all the game, white gave his opponent not a single chance, and during the whole game it was Esipenko who was dominating. Check, and then d7, and resignation followed. Well, this is it, dear chess lovers. Hope that you enjoyed the game. Feel free to share with your friends as well, and as usual, we'll see you in my next video. Take care.